Okay, so here's the thing. Why do people not start a podcast? Now I know why it's so difficult to start a podcast. For the last 2 hours, I've been trying to set up my. Okay, look at this. I'm just going to show you. Look at this. Disk not ejected properly. This bloody desktop app has quit. Shit like this just keeps happening. I've set up like three different lights. First of all, that's a big, this light is hitting my eye. But for the sake of beauty and good lighting, I have to have the light. So, anyways, first of all, starting a podcast is really crazy. It's a really difficult thing because you have to blabber a lot. You have to talk about stuff that you know or you're exploring or whatever. On top of that, you get into this shit wherein I'll show you. I have my Sony A7S III. I tried to hook it up via the USB-C, use an imaging edge desktop app to use it like a webcam and record remotely and make this podcast very high quality. I have my DJI wireless mic, and I have all these lights and everything. So much shit happened. And then I went on Riverside. Riverside says you have to download Chrome because we don't operate on other browsers. Dude, tack, just like obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. It's impossible to start a high quality podcast if you don't have the patience, if you don't have the technical patience. I think that's the word we should call it. It's like a technical patience that you need. You don't need patience in terms of like researching the subject. Like that's just natural. That's the reason anybody would want to sit and talk to a camera like this. Like that's the only reason, right? We have something to talk about. We want to share something to the world. But the process of that, as easy as it may seem, it's just difficult. These are high quality productions. Like it used to take a whole crew to set up things like this. And now we're just one person has to do this. So I think my first episode, ironically, my first podcast is about the difficulties of starting a podcast. That's just how it became. Like it's 9:20 p.m. now. I have things to do. I had things to do at 9 o'clock, but it's 9:20 p.m. But I want to start a podcast. And I've been postponing it for weeks. And today I'm like, okay, I have a Sunday evening. I'm going to sit down and make things work and have a high quality podcast up and ready to go. Well, this is as high quality as it gets. I think that's it. This is all we're going to get. My phone hooked up to the DJI wireless mic. And that's it. This is the screen. This is the recording studio. This is everything. I'm recording it on my camera. If the quality is not so good, it's okay. I think what should matter is what I'm sharing. Well, let's just ignore today's episode and just call it the difficulties of starting a podcast. But let me take the next minute or two to kind of figure out what this podcast is going to be. I'm actually just winging it. Did not come here with a plan or notes. Usually I have notes, but I've found that the more I prepare for the podcast, the more I just keep postponing it. That's obstruction again. Over preparation, overthinking. Oh, what if I talk about this? How will people receive this? Is my knowledge enough? Oh, the imposter syndrome again. Is my knowledge enough? Am I good enough to be sharing my knowledge? Am I that big? Stuff like that comes up. And I've just decided not to think at all. Keep it as simple as this and just record my podcast. So what is this podcast going to be about? I've been very active and curious about mental health these days. So that is definitely one of the topics that I want to cover. The other thing that I really, really like is my art stuff. When I say art, yeah, the paintings you see around are good, as in like are good for me, but my real art and my real technical ability in the art space comes in editing videos. Like I'm really passionate. I don't know that word passionate. No, no. Let's just reframe that sentence. I'm really into editing videos, and I really have that eye for detail. I know where to cut it. I know what 0.3 seconds need to go to make the video flow really well. I know what kind of sound effects, what colors, all that stuff. But I don't want this to be a filmmaking podcast. I'm just putting it out there. I like video editing. We might talk about it. But mental health and figuring shit out in your life, that is a topic that I'm very passionate about. It just so happens that my life has not been a smooth ride. I'm an engineer turned graphic designer turned installation artist turned filmmaker turned ad agency owner. So all of this happened, it's not like episode after episode. The transitions were very blur. And it just so happens that I'm a filmmaker slash ad agency owner at the moment. We are in our growth stage. We've been working with various tourism departments across India. So I don't even want this to become like a business ad agency kind of podcast. I just want this to be a uh, a general men's mental health kind of a focused kind of a talk show, let's say. Definitely with elements of business and filmmaking and video editing, all of that come together. Yeah, that's what we can expect. As I said, my life has not been very linear and smooth. Uh, Overthinking, depression, partnering with the wrong people, professionally and romantically, all of that has led to a lot of learnings, let's say. The first word that came to my mind was suffering. But then it's like, yeah, when you're suffering, it feels like suffering. But when you're done with it, it feels like learning. You realize that it was all learning. So I'm 37 years old now, and I think I have seen some life. And I think for someone who's 25, 22, 32 even, someone who's at some stage might hear something that I might say, and it might give them that push or give them that life hack to save time. It took me close to 15 years to learn so many things about business and mental health and survival skills. And I'm not talking like bush wildlife survival skills, survival in the sense of survival in this very harsh world of business. So that's definitely something I really would want some sentence to land somewhere in someone's life, wherein it kind of gives them that extra, like a boost, wherein they could save 2 months at least just by learning one lesson that I might give out. So that is one thing. But the other thing also happens. I'm very looking forward to interacting with people because I believe it stimulates our minds. To me, the views are not so as important as the comments because the comments give you stimulus. The comments are stimulating. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. The comments make you feel like, oh, I never thought about something I said in that way. This is what I was thinking about when I said this, but someone interpreted it in a different way, which means that's a new learning I can add to what I already knew. So we're hitting almost 10 minutes now. I think that should be it. My name is Vinay. This is the first episode of my podcast. Don't even have a name for the podcast yet. Let's just say Vinay's podcast. I don't know. So this is the first episode. Also, I'm going to be having special guests. I'm going to have, yeah, we'll talk about it later. 10 minutes up. See ya.